busy right now. As I mentioned, my name is Jennifer, and I'm visiting on behalf of the Wellness Center.
Okay.
And the Wellness Center works with children from a range of challenges and needs and strengths. And one of our clients is coming into your classroom.
Sam.
Yes.
Sam, yes.
So Sam has been working with our team of behavioral therapists, as well as another team from outside of our center of occupational therapists, speech therapists.
Cool, okay.
And we've all been working really hard, and Sam's been working very hard, to meet a lot of his goals and prepare him for the classroom environment.
Nice.
So it's a really exciting time for
Yeah.
him and his family. So we're so excited that he's decided to come to your school. So as you may know, as I know you've been briefed a little bit about all of your students at this point, Sam is considered a nonverbal learner.
Okay.
So what that just means is that he doesn't have speech in the same way you and I would think about communication. That being said, we always want to remember that even though a child may not have speech, he can still communicate.
Right.
So what we've done with Sam is that we've actually taught him a form of alternative communication.
Okay.
And there are a lot of different ways that children can use different types of communication strategies, but what we've done with Sam is that we've actually provided him with a program called the Picture Exchange Communication System, or PECS.
Oh, okay, I've heard of PECS.
Yes, actually I'm so glad that you mentioned that you have used it before, because I did actually receive a little bit of a survey from your supervisor.
Yeah, we filled it out.
Yeah, and I know that everyone filled it out, just so I could get an idea of what everybody's understanding or maybe experiences have been with using PECS or different behavioral strategies in the classroom. And
we've had lots of kids, yeah.
Oh, great. And your supervisor also just filled out a little bit of a needs assessment and just told me about some of the concerns you may have and any of the, challenges, routines and stuff that you might have in your classroom that might be affected.
Awesome.
So I'll give you a little bit more information about PECS, just so that everybody in the classroom is has the same level of understanding and just is all on the same page. So PECS, as I mentioned, is called the Picture Exchange Communication System. Okay. So what that basically means is that he uses pictures and exchanges it with a communicative partner. So in this classroom environment, it would be handing a picture to a teacher, maybe your TA, maybe even a substitute teacher, any of the people who are running the classroom.
And these are all the things that he wants?
Yeah. So exchanging a picture for something in return. Okay. Because basically what PECS is founded on is the belief that a lot of research really supports that making a request is one of the first steps in developing functional communication. Okay. So,
like toddlers and everything.
Yeah, just like toddlers do, or like when babies start to cry, they're requesting, they're making a request essentially. So, what we've done here is we've put in a whole bunch of items that Sam often requests, and this has kind of founded his speech and his communication skills using this system. Yeah, so it's really exciting. How does it sound so far?
Good.
Great.
Yeah.
So, this is actually PECS. This is actually Sam's PECS binder. Okay. This is the exact one that he uses, and what's really special is that all of the children's PECS binders are individually tailored and created just for them. Okay. So the pictures and the items that you'll see are specifically for Sam. They're customized, exactly. Okay. They're also, PECS has different levels, and Sam is now at level 5, where he's actually at the point where he's discriminating. Oh wow. So as you'll see, he's choosing from a number of items all on these pages. So
whereas before he wouldn't have.
Yeah, or maybe he would just have to choose one and really have to learn just the process of exchanging and receiving. So you see here there's bubbles, there's some songs that he loves, there's storybook, things that you might have in the classroom environment. And what we've done for Sam is we've conducted what we call a preference assessment. So these are all things that we found really, really motivate him. Okay.
And what about things like the bathroom?
Yeah, great question, because we've also put things in such as bathroom, we've put in break, we've put in water, so things that children need in their classroom environment, or if they really need to express something to you and need to tell you they need to go to the bathroom, or they need some water, they're neurodiversity, they have the ability to communicate those needs.
That's awesome,
Yeah, it is a really great program. So, the other part that Sam is on at level 5 is he's actually creating sentences. So whereas previously he was just handing the one icon, say he was handing you the iPad icon, and then he would receive the iPad, but now he's at the point where he's actually creating sentences, just as we kind of learn as well when we're developing speech or communication. So Sam is at the point where he's making a sentence starting with I want, placing it on the sentence strip, and then choosing the item, placing it on, and exchanging the entire sentence strip with the communicative partner. And we'll actually do a bit of role play so that we can actually kind of get the idea. Let me just see if there's anything else. Do you have any questions about PECS itself?
So he would just always have this book with him, basically, to be able to talk almost?
Yeah, exactly. This binder really should be following him everywhere he goes. Because from the PECS perspective, and I think it would probably make a lot of sense for you as well, being in the classroom, taking away the binder or taking away any of the pictures from the binder is actually taking away their right to express themselves. So just like you wouldn't cover your hand over a child's mouth if they were speaking, you would never remove the binder or never remove the book. That's not considered ethical. So, yes, good question. It does travel everywhere with him.
Cool.
Yeah, and at the end of this portion, let's decide together a great area that we can put this in the classroom that will be easy for him to find, not a distraction for your class, and of course convenient for yourself.
Cool, that's great.
Great. So let's do a little bit of role play scenarios, just a basic foundation of PECS. So I'll do it first, and I'll just show you what we'll do. So if I'm Sam, I would open the binder, choose the I want sentence, and place it on the sentence strip. This is what we call the sentence starter, the I want. So I want is a sentence starter, and then I'll flip through the book and choose the item that I would like to work for. So I'll choose right now storybook.
So it's in the sentence, you write it like
yeah, exactly. That's a great point. I'm glad you brought it up. So the sentence is actually placed in the order that you would kind of read it from left to right. So we can read it like that. I want storybook as opposed to just placing it in any other random order, a storybook I want. So on that note, there are a few different processes we can go through to correct these sorts of things, but we'll talk about that after once we kind of get a handle on the basics. So I choose I want storybook, and then I hand it to the communicative partner, the teacher, and in response, you'll honor that request and provide the storybook. Okay? Let's try a couple. So the I want goes on the first page, and all the other icons are throughout the book.
That's what he knows already.
Yes, he's been doing this program for quite a while now, so he's very familiar with the process. Yeah. So let's try a few, and you can hand them to me, and I'll play the role of the communicative partner. I want chips. Great! So you can see how I actually read that back to Sam. So even though he doesn't have a speech, we want to repeat it to him so he begins to hear it. Yeah. So I'll read it back to Sam, and also you always want to pair any selections or choices that he makes with verbal praise. So just a little bit of extra encouragement, and a little tip, Sam really responds well to lively voices, to excitement, enthusiasm, and I know that you'd be so great at that anyways. So let's try another one. And just a note, so the communicative partner, at this point in Sam's PECS program, will be resetting everything, okay? So we'll just reset everything, making sure it's clear and ready for the next exchange. I want bubbles. Great choosing, Sam. Okay. And then I think we've got the handle of that. Okay. Good work. So we'll just reset this. Do you have any questions so far?
Can you say no if you don't have a certain item?
Yeah, it is okay to say no.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you would do that to any other child.
So you wouldn't take out a picture if you don't have it?
No, you would never take out a picture. Just as I said, you would never remove a word from a child's vocabulary. So what you would do is just say, oh, I'm sorry, Sam.
Choose something else.
Choose something else. His receptive language skills, so his understanding of what you're saying to him, are actually quite high. So he understands what you're saying. You can just explain to him, I'm sorry we don't have that today. Let's try something else, and you can just kind of encourage him to choose something else.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Alright, so now that we have an understanding of the basic ways that we use PECS, let's talk about some of the things that could happen. So we've done a few perfect scenarios. So let's try a few maybe different scenarios, whereas maybe you might need to give him a little more help. So let's say he's maybe having a rough morning, or maybe he's had a vacation and has come back and is not quite sure of how to use it, or maybe needs a little extra motivation or help. So what we do is we provide assistance in the form of prompts. Have you ever heard of that before? Yeah. Like
you can direct the child.
Yeah, you can direct the child, giving them a little extra help. And there are different levels of prompts.
Just 1 second.
Great, thanks. So, we just give a little bit of guidance. So I'm going to give you a few teaching protocol materials. So don't worry about remembering everything right away. You'll have it all available for you to review. So we have a prompt level hierarchy. So what we can do is, what we want to remember is, just as you do with your classroom students, you want to just provide only as much assistance as is needed. The idea is that we want him to be as independent as possible. So let's just start from the most to the least right now. So for Sam choosing this sentence starter, he may need, at some point, a full physical prompt. So that would mean directing his hand physically to pick it up and place it on the sentence strip. After doing that one, he may not need assistance with the second one. He may suddenly just remember, oh yeah, I remember what to do now.
And then he would take his own.
Yeah, and then he chooses his own. And then we always want to exchange it and hand it to the partner. So you may need to prompt that as well. Let's try a full physical prompt for that. And you can hand it directly to me. I want stuffed animals. So that's great. So that is the most prompt.
How would you know when you need to do a prompt? Just a couple seconds goes by kind of thing?
Yeah, I would say if you ask him and he doesn't really respond right away, or you can see that he's just not going to go for it. And you may only need to do one, and then that will be enough, and you won't need to do it every time. It's kind of natural, because if he was going to do it for himself, you wouldn't feel the need to do it. So the second prompt level, after that, is a partial physical prompt. That would just be using the elbow or maybe the wrist to help him grab. And and that's just a little bit of extra guidance. And then let's not bother with the exchange at this point. Let's try the next level of prompting, which is just a gesture. So that is probably the one you're going to use most commonly with Sam.
And you would try that first?
You would try that first, absolutely. So you just point to the item to remind him that he needs to choose it, and then you may need to point right to the sentence strip. And then this one you can say, oh, what do you want? What do you want? Try it out. And then point to this one and remind him there. And then you may just need to say, as a gesture prompt for opening the palm, or a little direction. Great. And then the last prompts level is 0 prompts.
Which he's on right now.
Which is what he should really be on. And at that point, the prompt is really just the question, what do you want? What do you want to work for? That's what we call the SD. So that's his cue for actually doing the response, so starting the process. So what do you want to work for? What do you want? And then he should be able to.
But he can just bring you one without even being asked.
Yeah, that's right as well. Great. So let's just talk a little bit about maybe some scenarios that could happen, what we would call an error correction procedure. So let's just say, we've talked about this already, about the sequence you will place the sentence. Let's just say Sam placed the reinforcer item before the I want.
Okay.
So instead of I want chocolate, he put in chocolate I want.
Okay.
So at that point, what the PECS program asks us to do is do a procedure called backstepping.
Mm-hmm.
So what we do is, instead of just moving them for him, we really want him to learn how to put the sentences together. So we backstep it with Sam, and we say, no, let's try again. We remove them,
And you put them
back, and start from the beginning and say, we'll try again. And at that point, you may need a gesture prompt just to help him exactly with that. Yeah, so that he does not do another error right there.
Okay.
Great. That sounds pretty simple enough, doesn't it?
Yeah, so you just choose the same one, but you have to put them
You
back
choose
first.
the same one, yeah, because this is what he's chosen.
Yeah.
If he does change his mind, that's no problem.
Okay.
We just want to make sure that the sentence is in the correct spot. So with PECS, it's such an easy and effective system. So that is, that's one of the problems. So with the prompts and the error correction procedure, you should have basically everything you need to kind of like really work it nicely with Sam.
Cool.
Do you have any questions at this point?
Can he give this sentence started to anybody?
Yeah, in the classroom, it will really be up to yourself and your staff to who will maybe be designated this to Sam. But yes, he should be able to communicate with anyone, just as any child would be able to communicate with anyone. If maybe you're busy with another child, that's fine. You can just direct him to maybe someone else. But yes, he should be able to ask anyone.
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, great. So after this, we're going to take a little break, and then afterwards we're going to talk about how to pair the PECS system with a token word.
Cool.
Okay? But before we do that, quickly I'd just like to talk to you about where you would like to place the PECS book and the token board so that we can find a nice spot for Sam. So what we want to do is find a place that's easy and convenient for him, somewhere that he can see that's at eye level, somewhere that's not going to be a distraction for other children, and somewhere that's easy for you.
Okay.
And one thing too we want to remember is that we don't want to draw unnecessary attention to Sam. We want to kind of make it as natural in the environment as we can.
Okay.
So let's think of a place.
Well, Sam's always in this room because this is the toddler room, so maybe can it just go on a shelf?
Yeah.
Is that his height?
Sure.
And could this be a good one?
Yeah. Why don't we do this? Because it's nice and clear. It's at his eye level, basically. And we can maybe put this here.
Yeah.
And the token
Does that
board.
go with it? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe the token board we can put right here on the wall.
Yeah.
Great. I think that's a great idea, Heather.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So now we've established that. We're nice and comfortable with PECS. And why don't we take a little break? You can have some water.
Thank you.
Hey, good.